Imperative sentences are fascinating because they convey commands, requests, advice, and suggestions. They're direct and to the point, making them essential in everyday communication. Let's dive into how these sentences function in both direct and indirect speech. When we talk about imperative sentences, we often categorize them into four main types: orders, requests, advice, and suggestions. Each type serves a unique purpose, but they all share a common thread. They instruct someone to take action. In direct speech, an imperative sentence might sound like a straightforward command. For example, close the door. This is a clear order. However, when we shift to indirect speech, we need to adjust our reporting verbs. Instead of just repeating the command, we use the verb ordered. So it becomes, he ordered me to close the door. This transformation is crucial because it maintains the original intent while fitting into the structure of indirect speech. Requests are another form of imperatives. They're often softer than orders. If someone says, please pass the salt, it's a polite request. In indirect speech, we report this as he requested me to pass the salt. The verb requested captures the polite nature of the original sentence. Now let's consider advice. When someone gives advice, they're often trying to guide you toward a better choice. If someone says, you should see a doctor, it's a piece of advice. In indirect speech, we would say, he advised me to see a doctor. The verb advise conveys that sense of guidance. Suggestions work similarly. They're often framed as options rather than commands. For instance, you might want to try the new restaurant. In indirect speech, this becomes, he suggested that I try the new restaurant. The verb suggested indicates that it's an option rather than a directive. Now, let's not forget about negative imperatives. When we want to forbid someone from doing something, we use the verb forbid. For example, if someone says, don't touch that, in indirect speech, we would report it as he forbade me to touch that. Notice that we don't need to add not after forbade. It's already implied in the command. When it comes to the mood of the sentence in direct speech, we have to consider the reporting verb we use in indirect speech. For orders, we use ordered. For requests, it's requested. For advice, we say advised or urged. If someone is giving directions, we use directed. For suggestions, we stick with suggested. And if there's a warning involved, we use warned. If a person is addressed directly in the command, we might also use called in our reporting. This is particularly useful when the command is directed at someone specific. Understanding these nuances in imperative sentences helps us communicate more effectively. It allows us to convey not just what we want someone to do, but also the tone and intent behind our words. Whether we're giving orders, making requests, offering advice, or suggesting options, mastering the transition from direct to indirect speech is key to clear and respectful communication.